inferior in theory. We're live. We're supposedly live. Let me check the channel, make sure we're live. Hi everybody. I'm assuming we're live, but I don't know for sure. This is the first time in person though. So hello. Now I'm trying to get to the live section on the site to see if it's... How do I... Is it a separate thing?
It should be on your channel.
Yeah. We think we're live, but we don't know yet, guys. We're trying to find the actual live posting. Because we're supposed to be streaming.
Oh, I wonder something.
Oh, is that probably where it's going? It's not under that. Oh.
Yep.
We're live here?
Yes, it's on gaming.org. That's how YouTube works now, is their live stuff is really only for gaming.
Okay, so it's only going to post there.
Yeah. So.
Yo, hey, thank you, Joe. All right, good to see you. Hey, can you send me that? Or wait, here. Okay.
Just go to gaming, and then your channel.
All right, cool. Now I can actually
Working out the kinks.
Sure. Yeah, sorry guys, first time doing this live in person. And we also want to say we don't have screen cap set up yet because we're not using OBS right now. We're going to be using OBS
next week.
Yeah, next week. But I just wanted to let everybody here know. Huh?
Or the week.
Or the week after. Yeah, we'll see. It's probably going to be next week. But yeah. Anyway, hello everybody. Welcome to WordCast number 24. Yes, we are in person this time. Most of them from now on will actually be in person. So this right now is just going to be kind of the trial run of that, so to speak. But once in a while, we'll still be, having forced to kind of do not in person. But for now, the idea is to be in person. Thank you, Joe. Glad it looks great. I was hoping it would look great. Yeah, we've got 720p, 30 FPS, I believe is what's
1080p.
1080p?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it is 1080p, isn't it? Okay.
Yep,
Okay.
I have
Cool.
it loaded in 1080.
Sweet. All right. Cool. That's good to see. I don't because I'm trying to. This is the Ultrabook. This is doing the streaming. So, anyway, hello everybody, and thank you, Joe, again for all your comments. Really appreciate that you're here. Yeah, there'll be some actual computer hardware up here later
Trophies.
instead of my trophies, but whatever.
You should liquid cool your wall.
Liquid cool my wall. That's the best idea I've ever heard. Do we both sound clear, Joe? Do we both sound clear? I want to make sure. Does he sound clear in particular? Because he's a quiet little bitch.
I'm a quiet little bitch, apparently.
Yeah, okay. I hope he sounds good. He sounds good in my monitoring, so I just want to make sure he sounds good live. Anyway, we've got a lot of news to talk to you guys about today. Of course, a lot of gaming stuff because E3 happened, but a lot of tech stuff that also happened at E3, and as well as some security exploit stuff that I learned about that I wanted to talk about a little bit, touch on a few things. I might try and have a small security section in most of the WordCasts from now on because it's an important topic that develops really quickly. But, anyway, welcome to WordCast number 24. Thank you, everybody, for joining. We have 4 people watching. This is great. All right. Awesome. So, Daniel, you go ahead and I'll let you start with the beautiful EA.
Okay, so we're going to do the E3 announcements in order of the press conferences, just to keep it simple.
Yep.
So we're just really going to be talking about kind of the best of E3, and then one section I didn't even put in the doc yet for worst of E3.
It's because you suck.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
So we'll start with EA. So there were really 3 standout games, for me at least, with the EA conference. The first one I want to talk about is A Way Out, and that's because it looks different than what we've gotten in a long time. So A Way Out is a co-op game. It's only co-op. There is no single player at all. You can do online co-op, but they want you to do it...
I'm so glad that they added that. If they didn't add that, that'd be a big problem.
Yeah. The whole game, though, is designed around couch co-op. That's really what they want you to play it as. That's how the game is made to be. I don't expect this game to be $60, but we'll see. They haven't said anything as far as pricing goes. But it's a very cinematic game. You start out breaking out of a jail. There is quite a bit of gameplay after that, though. We don't know exactly how much. Again, they haven't really talked a whole lot about the game. They just kind of showed off a trailer and some gameplays. Yeah. But this is really interesting because unlike most co-op games where you can kind of just do whatever, there is a lot of decision-making that has to be made as a group. And this is why couch co-op is going to be so important. So one of the examples they were talking about was there might be a gun that you guys, one of the 2 characters needs to pick up. It doesn't matter which, but you have to agree on who picks it up. So you actually really both have to confirm a button to select which one gets the gun. And so if you disagree, then nobody picks it up. You can't progress, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
You actually have to make decisions together. You have to have a conversation. Okay, you take the gun while I go do this. Or I'll take the gun and, you stealth, whatever. There's all these different options. So that's really fascinating to me. I've really liked co-op games, and I want to see more unique co-op games.
I think it's pretty
And so
awesome.
that's why I'm so excited about
that's
this.
something that I've actually always wanted. I enjoy that, and the best experience I've had is things like Borderlands, so I definitely think that it's interesting to see something so unique and so heavily built on the co-op aspect.
And the main developer behind this game is the one who made a game called Brother, A Tale of Two Sons, which is the exact opposite. It's a single-player game where you control two characters, if I remember correctly. So this guy has a long history of making pretty unique games with interesting multiple character aspects. So I'm really excited to see what this is, because Brother: A Tale of Two Sons was really well reviewed.
It was a bit complicated from what I heard.
Yeah,
but still really good.
I mean, any game where you're controlling two people at the same time is going to be a little complicated.
Indeed, this is not wrong.
All in all, really fantastic game from them with that. Next up, and this is the one that blew everyone's mind, is Anthem. So this actually was only slightly teased at the EA conference, and then they talked about it more at the Xbox event. But I just wanted to cover it now since it started at the EA event. It's the new game from BioWare. Now, this is being made by the main BioWare team. So for those of you that bought or looked at or saw how bad Mass Effect Andromeda was, that was made by BioWare's B team. I know. BioWare's B team was working on Mass Effect Andromeda, while BioWare's A team focused on Anthem.
Right.
So Anthem is a multiplayer game. It kind of has a Destiny vibe. It sounds like they might be going for the whole shared universe type thing, which is pretty popular nowadays.
It is.
And it's like a third-person combat game. You have combat suits that you get in, like these big mech suits, or some are small. And they have a lot of customization. The game, obviously graphics I'm very much assuming they're going to go down by the time it's released, because the frame rate in the 4K trailer was pretty choppy. But graphics looked absolutely stunning. Even if you made the graphics half as good as they are, it would be a fantastic looking game.
Yeah.
And the combat looks good. The flight in the suits look good, because it's like you're flying around like Iron Man. Again, I'm really excited to see more. We only saw one gameplay chunk, and I want to see really more of what that game has to offer, because I think it has a lot of potential.
Yeah. It definitely looks interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I also just wanted to mention to anybody, we know this is on the gaming YouTube right now. I believe there's a way we can get this to run on our standard YouTube channel, so we just wanted to say we're going to attempt to get that set up next time as well. A little bit frustrating that it's on the gaming section, but whatever.
Yeah,
People still found it. Joe found it.
Live now.
Oh, okay. Now it's showing up on the gaming. All right, because we couldn't get the video to show up for some reason on our actual channel.
So it doesn't show up on the channel page itself.
Yeah.
It's not only us that has that problem, though. It's I
remember,
yeah,
like it sends out email links too to everybody that has email subscription turned on, but it's not actually through this. So that's weird.
It directs them to the gaming one.
Yeah, right.
Because that's what isn't it?
Although the YouTube app actually does the live stuff. It's just on desktop that it does the gaming.youtube. Yeah. Kind of weird.
Anyway, there's other YouTubers I've seen that have that same problem.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you everybody. Thank you for the chat blowing up. This is awesome. Really appreciate it, guys. Oh man. This is great. Well, at least we have 8 people.
Yeah.
I got a fortune today at Panda Express saying that we were gonna have a lucky, wonderful, memorable day, and now we have more people watching than ever. So it must be. So anyway, so hello everybody. Just kidding. We already said hello.
Yeah.
All right, so let's continue with the news, though. So next thing, Star Wars Battlefront 2?
Yes, this... Oh
exciting.
My God.
A new Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Yes. Star Wars Battlefront 2, the sequel.
I know.
Or the second.
The naming kind of frustrates me.
Yeah, especially
it's
since...
such a good space, but still.
Especially since on the Xbox, they're adding Xbox original backwards compatibility.
Right.
And so there's actually going to be 2 versions of Star Wars Battlefront 2 that are playable on the Xbox One.
Right. It's weird.
Yeah.
But I mean, the game looks great. It's just I feel like the naming should have done something different. Mm-hmm. Even if they
just added an actual title after Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Yeah. Or
just anything.
Even something as simple as just not calling it Star Wars, just calling it Battlefront 2.
Mm-hmm.
That would be an identifier there. You know.
But yeah, so the graphics look fantastic, and especially the droids.
Battlefront 1 was already amazing when it came to graphics. It was impressive.
The droids were what I was most impressed with, because the droids look better than they did in the movies, especially for 1, 2, and 3. The droids in this look stunning.
It's I'm really actually kind of excited for that myself.
They made a lot of changes based off of community feedback as well. So one of the biggest things for me is there's no more of the random hero drops.
Right.
You actually have to, you essentially earn points when you're playing the game, and you use those points to actually buy like the ability to use a hero in the game, or to use certain weapons or upgrades, things like that. So instead of those drops that you would normally find, your performance gives you rewards in points, and those points can be used to get whatever reward you want.
I think it's a really interesting design, and
It's
I
better
definitely
version of
want
kill
to try and
streaks.
play it. Yeah.
Because it's not just about kills. It's also not score streaks like Call of Duty, where some of them were limited based off of you have to do it all in one life, and some of them weren't. It's just you get points, you use them on what you want.
Yeah, right, exactly.
So.
It's awesome. Also, I just wanted to let anybody know that's watching this that doesn't know me personally. There are a couple people that know me personally in the chat, so that's why you may see it blowing up with some really stupid random crap. So just a warning there, guys. I maybe shouldn't have sent the links to those people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Battlefront 2, there is going to be story mode for those that don't know. They haven't really shown off a whole lot of that in this. It was mainly focused on multiplayer. They did like a 30-minute multiplayer event during their press conference.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
The maps look...
They had a lot of people playing it.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, it was not just like 4 people.
The maps look absolutely fantastic and just massive.
They're well designed, and some of them are modeled after some of the original Battlefront maps, which is really cool.
Yeah. And then, there's a big difference in gameplay in the map. So, like, the first map, or the main map that they showed at E3 was, essentially the first area was massive open area, and there was, like, you could do battles in planes versus, like, the droids that can fly. But then you move into the second area, and it's much more close quarters, and so you don't have the air combat going on. But then there's different vehicles for that section. And then you move into a building for the third portion of it.
It seems like they're really trying to actually do something special this time, instead of just, I felt like the original Battlefront was good, but it was kind of like, hey, here's this name that's been successful so we can make some cash from
Here's
it.
what they did for Battlefront 1. They took a Battlefield game, themed it Star Wars, and then ruined it.
Yeah, it was unfortunate. Yeah, and the thing is, it would have been good if they just had released a complete product and they hadn't been completely stupid and made like half the game DLC.
Mm-hmm.
They could have made it successful because the gameplay wasn't garbage. It was nowhere near as good as it could have been, but it wasn't terrible by any means.
Yeah.
Of course, though, this kind of goes after, it's kind of following the original Battlefront, where, the first game was just not that great. It was really fun still, and especially fun to go back and play after you've played 2, weirdly enough, but 2 was definitely a much better game.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's interesting. I'm fairly excited for it, though.
Yeah, it's going to be, hopefully, really good. Everything indicates that it's going to be a lot better.
Yeah, exactly.
And one of the things they're doing to ensure that it doesn't suck is they're having some of the higher skilled Battlefront 1 players come to DICE and work with them on the game. Like, they're taking feedback from people
directly
in person.
from people that play. That's really a good idea. I like that. Okay.
So that's part of why we're seeing so many changes that
was something I didn't know.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's something they just talked about at E3.
Okay. Very, very, very cool.
Yeah. Next up is Microsoft. They had a lot of games they talked about. A lot of them aren't exclusive, but still a lot of good info.
Yeah.
But let's start with the big topic of the event, the Xbox One X. So this is what was formerly known as the Scorpio. So this is their high-end 4K console is what they're calling it.
Yeah.
And
4K is kind of a marketing term.
I have yet to see a developer that has said they can't hit 4K on it.
Yeah, it seems like it's actually going to be
intensive
really
games,
viable, yeah. And I mean, of course, that you might have lower res textures, you might have lower res shadow resolution and stuff like that, but you're still going to be getting
it's not going to be 4K Ultra, graphics. It's going to be 4K medium for most games.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe even 4K kind of low on some, depending on what it is. Yeah.
I feel like for those games, they'd probably be more likely to
do like
although I guess it depends on how good the upscaling is on the Xbox, because like with the PlayStation 4 Pro, you're incentivized to just stick with, say, 1600p.
Right,
And then
exactly.
upscale because the upscaling is so good. You get 90% of the quality of 4K with their checkerboard
It's
upscaling.
a pretty innovational way of upscaling. I was actually impressed even with that. And that's something that I like to see in the console area because, I'm primarily a PC gamer. I like to see them trying to branch out to actually do special things. And that seems to be happening more now than it has happened in the past. And that's probably due to the competition from the PC market of people, these companies. I mean, Sony even outright saying that they realize that PC is starting to pull a lot of their customers away, especially as PC gets easier to use and stuff. And so now they're trying to actually, innovate more towards those types of people and do things that are different that PC either won't or can't do.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
things like proper upscaling, things like the Switch, how it's a mobile system, things like affordable VR is just really a good way for that type of area to succeed.
Yeah. So yeah, it's all in all looks pretty good so far. They've shown off things like, so it's going to support Dolby Atmos, which is pretty nice.
Right. Also, I want to address a comment. So, yes, Kevin, we will be talking about Minecraft. Don't worry, we've got that a little further down, but we do have lots of things to talk about Minecraft.
Yeah.
So we will definitely be getting to that because that was one of my favorite things.
Yeah. So there's going to be, of the current already released Xbox One games, there's going to be over 30 titles so far confirmed for getting updates for the Xbox One X, which is pretty big because it's still quite a few months out. It's coming out in November.
Yeah, right. Which isn't too far. At least it's not an Apple.
Yeah, but from development standpoint,
yeah,
5 months,
true.
a lot of games could decide to support it at that time.
No, yeah, so, that's true. Yeah.
And then every game that they showed off at the conference, and therefore every game that we're going to talk about in this list for the Microsoft event, does support the Xbox One X in one way or another.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a lot of upgrades for it.
It's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually, the One X was the first time that I've been impressed with a console that was not something unique that Nintendo did. The first time that I went, oh, that's cool. Like the PS4 Pro kind of hit me a little bit because of the innovational upscaling and stuff, but I wasn't like blown away by it. I was like, okay, it's cool.
They
But
could have
this
done
is actually
more with
pretty
the
impressive.
hardware, but they wanted to make it extremely easy for games to just work.
Yeah,
like
and
Microsoft
they made it the easiest
probably,
for sure.
I mean, I'm assuming that the extra year Microsoft took to get this out was...
Yeah, that's
because,
I mean, they're still using older, bulldozer-based CPUs from AMD, so, I mean, it clearly wasn't hardware.
With the PlayStation 4 Pro, they literally just took the GPU and put a second one together with it.
Yeah, which
so
made
then
sense.
If you are playing a regular PS4 game, you just shut off the half of the GPU and it just works.
Yeah, it's probably the best way to do it when it comes to...
from an ease of development standpoint.
Which, since it was only, Microsoft already had the Xbox One S, so, I mean, they already had a second version of their Xbox One.
Yeah.
That was kind of Sony's second version, whereas I feel like the Xbox One X is a new console, which it kind of is,
To be fair, the Xbox One S was really just an Xbox One with HDR support.
It was
and
slim,
4K,
is what it was, yeah.
But, I mean, Sony just software updated HDR support into their regular PS4.
They did, yeah.
So,
I guess what I'm saying, though, is they both kind of released more of a refresh, and then Microsoft's releasing more of a next-gen now.
Kind of.
Like, more of.
It's a next-gen with no actual next-gen features.
Yeah, right, exactly.
It's just better graphics.
Yeah. But it's sensible. So.
Yeah. So some games for it. Forza 7 was a pretty nice one. So that one is going to be running full 4K 60 FPS. Which is pretty nice because the graphics did look really good. And all of the trailer that they showed was in-game footage. Not in-engine, actually in-game on the Xbox One X, running in 4K.
Right.
And then there's some upgrades that will affect the entirety of the game, not just the Xbox One X. Because just like with the PlayStation 4 Pro, the Xbox One X will run all Xbox One games, and there will be no games that are exclusive to the One X.
Right, yeah.
It's only graphics updates.
Which is interesting.
That's how they should do it.
That's what makes it more of an, that's where there's that kind of blend, where I feel like, it's a next-gen console, but they're making it work with the older stuff to make it easier on developers, easier on consumers.
Yeah,
and then that way you don't have people
consumers.
where they all have to go buy the new one to play with their friends.
Yeah.
And that's a really interesting thing as well. I think that's important.
Yeah. So with Forza 7, one of the biggest things for me that I really liked is dynamic puddles. So with that, essentially what they're doing is you have, normally in a racing game, if it's raining, then it's just raining virtually.
Yeah.
And then there's just set slickness. There might be set spots on the track that have
change
extra...
just an audible thing and, a very
a
simple
little bit of
graphic
noise on
thing.
screen.
Yeah, but it's just random noise is how it is.
With the update for Forza 7, it's essentially the longer you get into the game, different spots like puddles can actually grow like they would in real life if you had a puddle and it was raining. And so the bigger the puddle gets, the more you will actually slide around, for example. So the maps actually change dynamically based on the weather.
Which I'm impressed with that alone.
Yeah.
That's something that's more of a sim related feature that you would
that
expect,
will be,
but it's not in a sim.
And that will be standard among the entirety of the game, not just on the Xbox One X. So for regular Xbox One players, you get that extra feature.
Right, exactly, yeah. Yep. Yeah. Indeed.
So that's going to be really impressive. Forza 7's coming on PC as well. So
yeah, and that's exciting. Is that the first Forza coming to PC? I think.
No, I think there is already one.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's impressive. I didn't even know that there already was one. Yeah. I thought there was. Okay.
It was just it was one of the first Xbox/PC games, so I don't think the port was all that great.
Right.
So, yeah.
It's indeed interesting. All right. Well, I mean, I'm overall, I think, excited.
Yeah.
I may or may not get it. I'm not really sure yet. I've been considering it, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, we can continue on. We have so much news. So, Metro Exodus.
Yes.
This looks good, and I love the Metro series, even though I haven't actually played through them, and I own all 4 of them.
Yeah. So unlike previous Metro games, which were a linear story,
yeah,
this one is a full open world game.
Okay.
So
which is very exciting, actually.
Yeah. That'll be a big difference.
Yeah.
Other than that, graphically it looked stunning again, just like a lot of these games.
That's what you'd expect. And of course they're showing them off in their best case scenario. In fact, they might even be showing them on a PC. They've done that before.
Yeah.
So, I mean, which is fine. I'm just saying.
Realistically, that's what the dev kits are. The dev kits, for example, they have
exactly that.
They have twice as much RAM.
Yeah.
They have a solid state drive along with a regular hard drive in it.
Right.
They have some extra things to make the development process easier in general. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, that game is also it's not exclusive or anything. It's just coming to
everything,
all of the systems. It was
which is not surprising. That it needs to. If they try to make it exclusive after having it not exclusive, that'd be pretty bad.
Yeah. It would.
So no, I'm definitely happy for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually, like I said, I own all 4 versions of the Metro, the Redux versions as well as the standard, and I definitely need to play through them. I played through the first one partially, and I really loved it, and I need to play through that in the. Wow, chat is exploding. Well, yeah, I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
I'm cool with that. We have more viewers than we had before. I like this.
Yeah. Next game up was Assassin's Creed Origins. So this was actually pretty heavily rumored.
Assassin's Creed Oregon.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I had to because we're in Oregon, It was required.
Yeah.
So, anyway, yeah.
So this game takes place in Egypt, as all the rumors suggested. This is essentially the start of the Assassins group in the Assassin's Creed and their enemies. So it's just essentially the origins, as the name suggests.
And it's
now they took
I like
the year,
the Egypt place too. I like that as being that being the standpoint.
And you can ride on horses.
Yeah.
And the horse gameplay looked really good. It looked really well done.
Right.
So there's a lot of gameplay changes to it too. We don't really have time to go into all of them because there's a ton. But one of the most interesting and odd things on this was there's no mini-map in the trailer. Now we don't know if they just turned it off because on the on-floor demos of the game there was also no mini-map.
Right.
And so we really aren't sure if there's just not going to be a mini-map, if you can turn it off, what's going on with that. Because it would be really weird for an Assassin's Creed game to not have a mini-map.
Yeah, because they've all had that.
Even
the mobile versions of them have had that.
It would force exploration.
Yeah, which I'm kind of interested in.
I feel like people should I wouldn't mind it being off by default, but with there being an option for it.
Yeah, yeah.
Because the people that don't bother with the settings then
Kind of like
experience
Breath of the
that,
Wild
but-
does, where you have the option to turn it off.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the opposite,
Yeah.
but still, I think I do like the idea of being able to have no mini map because that does promote exploration, which is fun.
Yeah.
That's a big portion of games.
Yep.
In fact, I like playing games with no mini map. There's
Mhm.
quite a bit. There's been quite a few that I've played.
Yeah. So yeah, that looks really good. I want to see more. Fuck you, Ubisoft, for what you're doing with the collector's edition of the game. There should
Oh
not.
my
There's
God.
like 6 versions of the game.
Yeah, it's
ranging
ridiculous.
from $60 to $800.
$800 for a pack, and I mean it comes with a whole bunch of stuff. But I mean everything all together, what is it probably worth? Maybe $120.
I mean,
if you realistically
the
think about it, 'cause
statue could cost a lot to manufacture. It does look pretty high
but
quality.
it's manufacturing, not custom made.
I
So
know.
I mean, at that point, I feel like
Well,
even
it's not mass produced though. There is only a small
True.
amount of them.
I suppose,
it's-
but I feel like
that should
$400
just be
would
an item
maybe-
that's sold separately.
Yeah, that's what a lot of games do.
Yeah.
They do the separate, like super high end statues and stuff.
You shouldn't have 6 SKUs for one game per console.
Yeah, that's just
You literally on
it's
the
a money
two-
grab. It's a money grab.
Yeah, on the 2 platforms it will launch on, because we all know with Ubisoft, PC games generally launch later.
Yeah,
2
and
games,
more broken.
Yeah, so 2 platforms, 12 SKUs.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a nightmare for people that work in retail.
Yep, indeed.
Yeah, I'm so glad I don't work at GameStop because of that.
Yeah, and I get that. So somebody also commented saying, "Yeah, you just end up opening the main map every 5 minutes." Yeah, that's something I might end up
Yeah,
doing.
that's why I think you should have the option.
Yeah,
to
that's
turn
why
it
I like
on.
the option to turn it on, because that way it doesn't get annoying. Because some
Yeah.
people do that. That'd probably be me. But you know.
So, yeah, really that's it for now on Assassin's Creed. Again, I recommend looking it up if you are really interested in Assassin's Creed, because there is a significant amount of changes.
Yeah, there. I hope that they actually can do a good job this time, because it's had a lot of problems lately.
Yeah.
After Unity, things were pretty bad.
Yeah.
Even with any of the newer ones that have come out.
They took a year off for a reason, and so I have confidence that they didn't waste that time. It's just a matter of how much they didn't waste it. 'Cause
Yeah,
they need
right.
a lot of work.
Yeah. Yep.
So,
Indeed. So, okay. Player Unknown Battleground. So, yeah, I need to buy this game still. I've
Yes,
heard very
we
good
do.
things. Yeah, we both
So,
need to start playing it.
for those that don't know, PlayerUnknown Battleground.
Can you start private servers for this?
I don't. Well, it wouldn't make sense to have private servers.
No, I guess it would. No, right. Yeah, okay.
So
Anyway,
PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds is essentially just a big survival game. Think of if you took
It's kind of like Rust.
Yeah.
It's very similar to Rust.
or
but-
DayZ without the zombies.
Yeah, it's DayZ without the zombie Rust. It's better than a lot of the other survival games out there. That's why it's been catching on so well, and a lot of people have been playing it. I will say the thing about the whole survival game fiasco that's been going on for a long time that I've personally noticed is whenever a new one comes out, people think it's better than the other ones, and it may be, but they boom for like 6 months and then they crash. And it happens to seemingly all of them. Ark did it, and I mean, now they're finally releasing Ark officially. And I mean, it's still played widely, but I mean, it's nowhere near the explosion that it is originally.
Yeah.
And, Ark did it, Rust did it, H1Z1 did it, DayZ did it. They're all doing it. And I hope that doesn't happen with this one, but I mean, we just have to wait and see.
Yeah.
But it's exciting. But the fact that it's coming to a console is a big deal.
Yeah, so it's coming to Xbox One first. It is going to come to PlayStation 4 later. It's just a timed exclusive. But that's not the only thing they announced at this. There was actually quite a lot of updates for it. It is going to support 4K on the Xbox One X, which is pretty nice.
Right.
It will also support, or it's getting updates, and this is for the console version and the PC version. It's getting proper climbing support. So for those that haven't seen the game, pretty much if you want to get on top of something right now, you have to just kind of jump and try and land on things.
It's
kind of
pretty great.
ridiculous.
I
So
mean, it's
they're-
kind of entertaining, but
they're
it's
adding
ridiculous.
very impressive animations as well for the movement and
Yeah,
climbing. Like they were showing one where like instead of just vaulting over a car, it's like you kind of do like a front flip over it in a very
Right.
fluid way. The climbing all looks really good.
I just realized how appropriate this stream is, that it's our first stream on YouTube Gaming instead of our regular YouTube channel, and it's the E3 stream.
Yeah.
I'm very happy with this. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, so it
Anyway,
works.
it works great.
Yeah.
3D replays.
Yeah. So
Kind of
essentially,
like
what-
Forge for Halo.
yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
They're adding in a very, very in-depth replay system apparently. So you'll be able to make your own machinimas, do whatever, like really in-depth, really cool videos with
And
it.
I think a survival game is the game that needs to have that.
Yeah.
And so the fact that they're adding that in shows that A, the devs are committed, B, that hopefully this isn't dying again. help there, but updates consistently, even though it's been out for a while and the hype has kind of died down. It's impressive. So I'm excited for that. We're about to talk about Minecraft too. Ooh, that's going to be the exciting one.
Yeah, so let's just get into Minecraft.
Okay, we'll jump into Minecraft. So cross-platform support. Now this is cross-platform play. Obviously they've had it on many platforms for a long time.
So the mobile
including
version,
mobile.
Yes, the mobile version, the Windows 10 version, the
there
Nintendo
are a few
Switch
caveats
version,
we'll get to once he's
and
done
the
with
Xbox One version are all going to be at the same level of update. They are all going to be getting a new engine, and they will all support cross-platform play. And they actually did detail how this is going to work on the Switch. You sign in with an Xbox Live account. Nintendo's letting them do that.
Wow, I actually
use your
I was
existing
unaware.
Xbox friends list.
That's impressive that they're allowing you to do that. See, and the thing is, Microsoft keeps pushing good things, actually, like good design aspects in games and stuff towards the Xbox app for PC. Why the fuck can't they fix it? It doesn't work half the time. I've tried to join group chat sessions like voice chat, and it just doesn't fucking work. And I'm sick of this because if Microsoft can fix that for PC, they have the game mode and everything now. If they can fix their Xbox app so it's not broken.
Forge is a map making system, not replays.
No, I know. I was saying, though, the way you can fly around and stuff. I apologize. I wasn't... Yeah, you are correct. Forge is more for map making, not for replays. But, what I was getting at, though, was Forge allows you to fly around. And so you can use it to make a video or something like that if you wanted to, as an example, if you were recording or streaming. But, my point was mostly just the 3D movement around aspect. So I apologize for that. Kind of a little bit of a mishap there.
Yeah.
Anyway, though, so... It's beautiful looking, the new Minecraft. It looks gorgeous. Again, there are a couple caveats we'll get to in a second, but it looks beautiful and it has 4K.
Yeah, so the important thing, the new engine and the new graphics, other than the 4K support, is coming to all of the platforms, including the Switch.
Right, which doesn't surprise me. I mean, if they can make... I mean, it's not a very hard game to run. It's CPU
only
intensive.
version not getting the update is the Java version.
The original
and that is
Minecraft is not getting it because it runs on Java.
It's a completely different engine.
Exactly, and that's the thing so that's the caveat.
And on the Java version, you can just mod in better looking graphics.
It doesn't even matter at that point. But so here's what's happening basically, guys. Is the original version of Minecraft is Java, and it's for PC. PC runs Java until they added Minecraft for Windows 10, which is included with the standard Minecraft license, so you get it. So everybody that has Minecraft does have this, or they can at least redeem it on their on Minecraft.net. But the issue here is, so Java is what Minecraft ran on for a long time, rather than its own dedicated engine. Dedicated engine is going to be better because, let's be honest, Java is terribly optimized. Java does not like multi-core support, and Java is a CPU whore overall.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that they're doing it this way. The problem is Java's been the way that people have been doing it for so long, so consistently, and that's where all the mods are as well. I think it might take away from the experience of Minecraft when it comes to that stuff a little bit, which of course isn't something you would do on a console.
Feature-wise, update-wise, the Java version is still pretty decent amount ahead to my knowledge.
Yes, so, and it probably still will be for a while.
I imagine that they're just going to keep making the features on that.
I feel like they should just release their textures for the Java. They should update Java with the textures. They could easily do that and just have, when you have the graphical settings in Minecraft, just have so you can switch. And maybe they will. They didn't say they will, but maybe they will, because they could just port the textures over, assuming that the textures are using the same, base of just a block of how many bits it is. But maybe they're not. It depends on the way their engine functions. But the issue here that I'm running into is you have this awesome cross-platform support, but local hosted servers are not going to work with this, and that's because local hosted servers that people host privately, as many of you know, I actually host my own Minecraft server. The issue with this is you won't be able to play on those because those are Java-based, and as far as I know, they at least didn't talk about it, but they have no way of making their engine functioning on the Java server end. And so you're going to run into this kind of terrible situation where people that have had private servers for a very long time, that have maybe put years of work into them, as have I, you start to run into the issue that now all of that stuff that I did over there is going to be gone, even though the better version of Minecraft, so to speak, is out. Now, maybe Java will still be continue to be ahead and continue to be the one that kind of dominates. We will have to see. I don't know. How are they doing the servers for in-game?
They haven't specified much.
Because if they're doing it through Realms, that pisses me off, but I'm assuming they're not.
It doesn't sound like it because they're saying that they're not gonna really talk about details until closer to the update.
Okay, good.
So,
Because if they were doing it to the update. Okay, good.
So
Because if they were doing it to Realms, they'd just say.
Yeah.
So anybody that doesn't know what Minecraft Realms is, it's basically you pay money to use Minecraft's servers. Microsoft hosts them for you. They will actually host your server, but it's not a custom server. It's just you can play with up to like 15 friends, I think it is, or something like that on one Minecraft Realms. You have to pay for it as a monthly subscription. And that's the unfortunate part is when you can host your own local server that is completely custom to you versus hosting theirs that's going to have a worse ping time, isn't custom at all, and costs a monthly payment. That's frustrating. I'm hoping they're fixing that
for
with
the
this.
2% of actual consumers that would want to do that.
Well, the thing is, no, when you look at the actual Minecraft crowd, it's like 50% or more. Well, yes, but I mean, the PC Minecraft
Again, you need
crowd.
to realize that console and mobile, completely different.
No, I understand that. What I'm getting at, though, is the hardcore Minecraft people,
The
Realms
hardcore
piss them
Minecraft
off.
people are going to play this anyway because they're going to play on PC.
Right,
Simple
and
as
this
that.
is true. But what I'm getting at is I hope they don't do this like Realms, because a monthly subscription for that kind of stuff is
Yeah.
bullshit. That's the main point I'm getting at.
I mean,
If
if they
they
for
do-
server space.
I mean, yeah, but I feel like that should be included with the cost of the game. That's how a lot of games run.
Yeah.
And they could also do
a
local
lot of
hosting.
games sell you new games every year.
This is true. They
Anybody else?
could do local hosting
Yeah.
though too. They could have it so the consoles themselves, because it's not that resource intensive, and so they could have it so that if you pay for Realms, you can have up to say 50 people together. You pay monthly for Realms. I think 50 is a reasonable amount.
Yeah,
If
they
you
are
do local, it's like 10 or 15 people.
They are
locally
saying
hosted.
that there will be public servers as well, along with an in-game server browser. There will also
Okay.
be parental controls so that parents can limit
That's
access
actually
to certain
quite cool.
types of servers.
Right.
So we'll see. There's just going to be more details later.
Yeah. Also, a comment that's gone now, but was just mentioned to me is they will have to implement some kind of migration tool. I hope so. I hope they implement a map migration tool. I would love to be able to take my Minecraft files from my Minecraft Java-based server and actually port over the seed and everything that has been done in that world, the world save data, and actually, be able to play on that.
I think though that the problem is that again the PC version is further updated than the console and the essentially the unified version will be, and so if you are porting that data over, you might not have some of those features, and it would break the game.
Right.
Or you might port over a seed, and that seed not be the same because the PC version has different seeds.
Right, and so that's a good point. I wish there was a way. I'd hope there'd be some kind of migration, even if they have to, like I said, a tool. Even if they have to, you have to plug the data into an actual application that then basically exports it, and it might be kind of CPU heavy to do the export, but it exports it in a file format that can then be like the save game can be linked up to the server account through your Xbox account or something like that. That'd be really cool. I don't know if they're going to do it.
Yeah.
There's probably
and if
too
they do,
small
it's
of a
not going to happen
percentage.
anytime
There's going to be
soon.
too small of a percentage of users, because a lot of users, when they either play on public Minecraft servers that are never going to be able to switch to that, or they play on modded servers which are never going to be able to switch to that, or there's the rare occasion, even amongst the hardcore people that are running their own private server like me, that are going to, want that kind of feature, and I don't think the effort's going to be worth it for that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, 4K support on
Yeah.
Xbox One X. Other than that, really, 4K for Minecraft and regular Minecraft really aren't all that different.
Yeah,
So-
exactly.
None
at all.
Yeah.
It's texture based. It doesn't work that way.
They might have 4K textures or something, though, when you switch to it. We don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, really, the last game I wanted to talk about from Microsoft was Crackdown 3. So this was actually a game shown off 3 years ago. It was shown off right around the time the Xbox One came out, actually, I think. Sorry. So this game
'cause
is
you suck.
essentially
That's why
all
you did that.
focused on world destruction. So if you guys have played Crackdown before, this is just a newer version, but
Right.
it's got a lot of world destruction. In fact, it was so much so that originally when they were designing the game, the only way that this level of destruction worked was using cloud compute.
It's surprising.
You could literally destroy the entire game. Like, you could just destroy the entire city that you play in.
That's actually impressive.
Yeah.
That's actually kind of exciting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, they didn't mention at the C3, at least from what I saw, any mention of if they're still doing cloud
cloud
compute, and if they're
right.
not, then it would make sense why it took them 3 years
Right.
to show it off, because they had people playing the game 3 years ago.
Right, exactly.
It's not like it was just, here's a teaser, now the game's coming out.
Right. And part of the issue, or part of what could work as well, is the fact that, it's using an 8-core base CPU, correct?
Yeah, but it was with the Xbox One.
That's true. So it might just be the optimization. It might just be the multi-core optimization that's holding them back, though. That could be.
Or just a better engine.
Or just that.
There's so many different things that they could be doing with it.
Destruction is a very hard thing to work for. That's probably one of the hardest challenges of gaming, to be honest.
Yeah, that's why I want a new Bad Company now that we have much better hardware. Because Bad Company 2 had a lot of destruction for
and that was old hardware. Yeah, exactly. So I would love to see what we can do in a modern day, and we've kind of seen that in some games. I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but there are some that I have seen that have pretty good destruction, other than Minecraft,
decent,
of course.
Yeah. Yeah, Minecraft and just destroying blocks.
Yeah, well, the thing about Minecraft
best destruction in all video games.
Best destruction until it lags to 1 FPS. So, yep, indeed.
That's really it for Microsoft as far as the stuff that... I mean, there was a lot of other things they talked about. Oh, wait a minute. I did not have the most... Wow, how did I forget that? Sea of Thieves. Oh my god, I want that game. So for those that don't know, Sea of Thieves is a shared world pirate adventure game.
Right.
And you can literally get some friends together, run a pirate ship, go dive in the water, look for treasure, fight other people with their boat, go on land and do all sorts of things. It looks like an absolutely fantastic game. It's made by the developers
I didn't
Rare.
See much about this. So
yeah, you need to check it out. It's going to be on PC as well.
I do indeed. Okay.
So, and Xbox One and
I need to keep
PC.
buying more games that I'll never play because I don't have time. But I need to keep buying them all so that when I have time,
so you
never...
can use your hard drive space.
So I can use up all my hard drive space. No, if I have time to play them, I can play them.
Yeah. This game just looks all around stunning. I really want to get my hands on it. I signed up for the Insider build. Hopefully I get access. You guys, if you are wanting to play it, if you've seen anything about it, you can go on to the website for Sea of Thieves and request access for either Xbox One or for PC.
Right.
So there are some options there.
If you get access to it, too, you should write an article about how it is.
I will,
so,
and I'll do a lot. I really want to play that game, though. I've been waiting for it ever since we got the teaser of it last year. It's made by, I think it's Rare, who did Banjo-Kazooie. It's that same development team. So they know what they're doing. It's just that for the past few years, Microsoft has had them working on Connect games and sports games and silly, stupid shit. And now they're like, oh,
because why not?
Do what you want now. And they do this amazing looking game.
Yeah, right.
So...
That's the shitty part about being owned by some big conglomerate.
Mm-hmm.
That's the shitty part as a developer. When you need the money to do what you want, but you can't do what you want if you get the money. Yeah. That's the dilemma you have to run into, and that's where sometimes Kickstarters and stuff work for it. But
and then sometimes they don't.
Sometimes they don't at all. Sometimes they pull a Butterfly Labs.
Or EA.
Okay, so Bethesda.
Okay.
So there's 2 things here. You missed one. I added it in. Like times 8.
Okay, but none of their VR announcements I actually care about.
But what if I care about them? I'm excited.
For Fallout?
No, for Skyrim VR.
That's not from the Bethesda conference, which is why I didn't have it in there.
Do you have it somewhere else?
Yes.
See, okay. I didn't know if you had it somewhere else, so I was like, it's Bethesda related. Well, I should read the doc, but you were typing it while I was also typing it, so I couldn't read it and type it at the same time.
At the Bethesda conference, there was a whole bunch of stupid announcements. There was like a couple really good ones, but for me, the only game I was really interested in was Skyrim for the Nintendo Switch, because for some reason, a lot of people were thinking that Nintendo was lying when they showed that off. I don't know where the fuck they were getting that from.
We need to address something really quick. They really like your Portal shirt.
Oh.
So tell them how you bought one.
I bought it online.
Where?
Oh,
do you remember?
It's called Muster.
How did you buy? I bought it online. Thanks, man.
It's called Muster Brand. It's some German manufacturer.
Okay, interesting. Because I want to buy one.
Yeah.
Too. I've been wanting one.
They do just only like gaming and movie themed clothes. They have oh my god.
Oh my goodness, they have a brand. see, now we're just gonna get to watch Daniel look at products the entire stream. Yes. While he goes completely broke.
That $370 jacket.
Okay.
So yeah, Skyrim for the Switch is coming. There is Amiibo support. They only showed off a little bit, but you're going to be able to get a Breath of the Wild tunic along with the Master Sword and the Hylian Shield, which is going to be fucking amazing. But they did say that there's going to be other Amiibo support, including some potential Smash Bros. Items, which I don't really get that because Smash Bros. Items are just Nintendo items.
Yeah. It's a little confusing, but
So unless they're talking about you getting the Smash Ball, which I guess would be weird. I don't know how you use that in Skyrim.
let me smash.
Yeah,
Oh,
they could
man.
do that. But yeah, so Skyrim for Switch is coming. It'll be including all of the DLC as expected, but it's not the like updated version, I guess. It's just a Switch specific version.
I gotta get something started in chat here, though. Everybody, you need to type something in chat using the words Smash Ball.
Okay.
Okay. We're just gonna wait and see what happens. Use the word Smash Ball has to be included in your next chat post.
Yeah.
Yep.
Other than that, nothing else good that was important was really announced. I mean, like there was Fallout for VR, but that was already announced prior. It was announced by AMD a while ago. Yeah. Next up is Ubisoft, who actually was one of the winners of
Ubisoft actually
E3.
they
I
did a good
consider
job
it that
this
they
time
came in
around.
second place,
Yeah.
really. One of the big ones was a Nintendo game.
Right.
Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battles, I think is the name. It is essentially XCOM skinned with Mario and Rabbids.
It's quite interesting. It actually looks really entertaining, honestly. I thought it was going to be stupid when he sent me the link to watch the trailer. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, are you fucking kidding me? He's trolling me. And then I was like, no, this is a real thing, and it actually looks really entertaining.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
bye!
Bye.
There's somebody here. We had to be dipshits. You can come here, buddy.
Goodbye, everybody.
He'll be in some of the gaming videos we've got coming up soon. Anyway, see you later, man.
See ya.
All right, so
Yeah.
it actually looks impressive.
Mhm.
I'm actually pretty excited for this
Yeah.
game.
I love how this game came to be. So
Is it what consoles is it gonna be for?
Switch?
Just Switch. Oh, I figured because
Yeah.
it's Nintendo. Okay, I'll be buying it for sure.
So when this game was first going into development, they some people at Ubisoft asked Miyamoto if they could make a game with Mario in it, and he said, "Sure, you guys can go ahead and do that, as long as it wasn't pretty much as long as it didn't include jumping as a core component of the game,
Right.
because
right.
then it would be
yeah.
a Mario game."
Then it would be a Mario. At that point,
So,
it would-
by them doing this, we essentially are getting XCOM for the Switch, just themed with Mario,
right.
which is awesome because it's more variety, and it's coming out this year.
It's like I said, as long as the gameplay is good, I kind of like the weird mashup.
Yeah,
That's the
and
thing.
XCOM has pretty well renowned
It does.
gameplay, so
Yeah, indeed.
that should be really good. Cruise 2, it looks pretty interesting. I'm hoping
Let's hope they don't fuck it up like the first one.
Yeah.
Jeez, it was so
Yeah.
bad. I
it
remember
has so
playing
much
it.
potential, and they
And
dropped
they
the
just
ball.
it was. I remember being able to drive through people transparently. Like
Yeah.
you could try and hit pedestrians, and instead they're standing inside your car.
Mhm.
Oh, it was so bad. That game and the grass effects were complete garbage. And I mean, to the point of normally you don't give a shit about grass effects, but they were so bad that I gave a shit about them.
Yeah,
So let's hope they don't mess it up this time.
yeah. So there's new transport options as well, including airplane flying. So you can literally just race airplanes, I guess.
Right.
We'll see how that actually plays, because that's going to be the biggest thing. Is airplane flying can be really fun or it can be really shitty. It's just depending on how it's designed. Really want to see more of it. I hope that they took the world that they had, fixed the graphics and the bugs, and then added to it. Because theoretically, for the crew, what I always felt that they should do is, with every game, take the base mesh layout of the world
Yeah.
and just keep adding cities to it. Because the whole point was being able to play across the U.S. So if
yeah,
they can
exactly. That was the
eventually
idea.
have-
Yeah.
If they can, even if it takes 4 or 5 iterations, if they can have 100 cities that you can race
No,
in,
they should have literally a perfect map of the entire United
I mean,
States.
that would be amazing. But you know how long that would take?
It's a 12 terabyte game.
Yeah. I mean, hey, I'd take it.
No, well they
You-
they can just use Google satellite photos and just map it that way. And just
You
be
would
like,
buy
we'll
hard
pretend
drives
it's
just for that.
I would.
You even if you hated that game, you would buy it just for the hard drive space it would take.
Yes, indeed. And then I would have to be like Comcast business class. Thank you, no data cap.
Yep.
Most people will just have to download it
And then
over
Comcast would
a year
implement a
period.
data cap on business class because of you.
Be specific. Well, see, it's 12 terabytes. That gives you exactly 1 year on regular internet to download it, assuming you download nothing else.
No, you can do it in 1 month. Because remember, for Comcast at least, they give you 2 months of going over before you get charged.
That's right. So you can do it in the
1 month for the crew.
assuming you can actually get the 12 terabytes
I
in
could.
1 month. You could with your internet.
Yeah.
My internet is very iffy considering it's 1/10 your internet.
Yeah.
But my upload's 4 times more.
4 times.
3 times. Sorry.
3 times. You don't have 30.
Don't you have 5 up?
No, I have 10.
Oh, you have 10?
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. So it's like okay, it's still higher.
Yeah.
Anyway.
The next really interesting game was Skull and Bones. So this is essentially if you took the boat battles from Assassin's Creed Black Flags and took out
Which
the
was
rest of the
like
game.
one of the best parts from
Yeah.
what I was told. I never played it.
If you got rid of the rest of the game and just left the boat battles.
And then they expanded on it. At least we assume
Yeah.
they're going to expand on it.
I mean they
Yeah,
did,
of course.
but it's
yeah.
its gameplay is focused on that boat battle design. It's literally the team that made Black Flag. When they finished that game and saw how well liked the boat battles were, they took that and made a new game.
And I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea. It's a good way for them to farm more money.
Mm-hmm.
No, it might actually be good.
It's a good way for them to split up the Assassin's Creed franchise.
Yeah, which is
Because
something that needs to be done.
It's one of those franchises that I feel like you should find the best developer or two for it and just have them focus on it.
Right,
and
right.
let your other developers work on new IPs. Because honestly, for me, one of the biggest problems with this E3 was the lack of new IPs. I mean, Skull of Bones is kind of one. And then other than that, we have 2 from EA and no other real notable new IPs.
Right.
And when EA is at the top of any positive list in gaming, you know that when EA and Ubisoft are the 2 only ones on a positive list in gaming, you know there's something wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Also, Dude JJJ Movies wants us to be a part of his Farm for Money. Yeah, we'll join you for your Farm for Money. That sounds great.
I'll skull your bones.
He's gonna skull our bones.
Yeah.
Oh man, this stream I hope that anybody that watches this after, can they see the live chat after?
I don't know.
If you can see the live chat after, you guys should go read it. It's like a storybook. Just
weird
read
one.
it from the beginning to end.
Yeah.
You'll have an interesting picture in your head about the chat anyway.
Yeah. Next up, they showed off some gameplay for Far Cry 5.
Colts.
Yes.
It's all that matters.
Yeah, I mean that's what this game
That's
is
what the
about.
game
is
is about.
Essentially, from what they showed, there's a portion of within this game's universe for the U.S. A portion of is it Montana?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's Montana.
Of
Correct.
Montana
It-
that
it-
was
as long
essentially
as I'm not an
taken
idiot.
over by a cult. They've essentially pushed all of the police out or killed them, and they control
Yeah.
this area. And you are playing as a guy who also had some, I think, mercenaries with him. That is essentially in this area now, and so you're trying to get to safety, stop the cult, essentially just clear out the area.
Yeah, right. It's an interesting take on Far Cry.
Yeah.
It's definitely different than they've ever done before,
Mhm.
and we'll see how good it is.
Yeah.
It looks good,
Yeah, it does.
but
It looks like it has a lot of potential, that's for sure.
I think so. I'm just
So
a little bit worried about them going so far off of what they normally do.
Mhm.
We'll have to see.
yeah.
Yeah, because it's
Makes
always been
sense.
kind of an exploration, older style game, mostly.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, it wasn't really set in older
think
times. They had
being
modern weaponry.
Being
but...
in Montana helps with that.
Yeah,
Being,
exactly.
The middle
It's
of nowhere, Montana.
Yeah,
Not a
yeah.
major city.
Yeah.
Really helps with that too, though. Yeah, and I mean, I feel like that's gonna bring a really good, new, interesting area to explore.
Yeah.
Because it's not actual U.S., so it's not like they just took a map of a city in Montana.
Yeah.
It's a made-up city.
So.
Yeah.
They're just pretending it's in Montana.
Yeah.
That's all it is. Beyond Good and Evil 2.
Yes. So for those that don't know, Beyond Good and Evil was a game that came out like 13 years ago.
Yeah, I never played
And it wasn't all that great. It wasn't all that popular, but the people that loved it absolutely loved it and have been asking for a new one for 13 years. Well,
Sounds like Half-Life. Anyway, except this actually was delivered.
Half-Life was really popular.
Yes, but I mean like the asking
Yeah.
for another one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ubisoft allowed them to do it. So yes, we're getting a Beyond Good and Evil 2. The trailer for it looked really interesting. I never played the first one. I don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
But then when I saw animals and humans interacting and stealing from each other and like just all the stuff that went along with
The
it.
stealing's all that mattered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As long as you're good at stealing, it's a good game.
Yeah, exactly. If you can steal, it's great.
Yes. So I really want to see more from this game. But it looked pretty interesting.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I'll say.
Yeah. And then let's get into
Sony.
my favorite gameplay shown off at E3.
Yes.
Spider-Man.
You're gonna go balls deep on this.
Oh my god, I want this game. Right
Yeah.
now.
So.
Give it to me. This and Sea of Thieves are I could get just these two games. and one other game, Super Mario Odyssey, which we'll talk about later.
Yeah.
Those 3 games, and I would be super happy for like a year of gameplay, if not more.
Well, unless you play constantly, you get bored.
No. Sea of Thieves is multiplayer.
Okay, that's
It's a shared world game.
Yeah, okay.
Everything is different.
You may eventually get bored.
No.
But then again, I never get bored of Minecraft, so
Yeah.
I understand.
And Minecraft isn't even good. No, I'm kidding.
I hate you.
Um,
You're all talking about how exciting it is, but it's shit.
Yeah. So Spider-Man, they didn't confirm if it's linear or open world, but based on the fact that there was a mini-map,
Yeah.
it seems kind of odd it would be a linear game. From what best everyone I've watched and that's talked about this has been able to tell, it's an open world game with some cinematic, somewhat linear style for the main story missions, and then you might have more like open world sandboxy side missions.
It actually reminds me of the original Spider-Man game.
Yes.
Which was my favorite.
Yeah, and more importantly, the movement of the character, the fluidity of his movement.
Oh, it's so perfect.
How he attacks or fights people.
It's actually beautiful.
The core focus of the mission that they showed us, everything about it felt like Spider-Man games should. Like,
yeah.
A majority of what they were doing in the gameplay mission they showed, I mean, yes, he was taking down bad guys, but he didn't kill anyone, and a lot of what he was doing wasn't even stopping bad guys. There was a lot of stopping collateral damage, which I think was really cool, really important to see. We saw at one point he tried to hold a helicopter back, and he screwed up ultimately by making that decision because it pulled the thing off the roof that he was trying to use to stick the helicopter to.
Right, yeah.
And that caused him damage. And so then we just saw him rushing to stop all of the damage that was being caused by this massive thing flying around below a helicopter.
And that's a key point, I think, of the entire gameplay footage.
Yes,
it shows kind of what they're trying to go
we saw
for
like
in the game.
a crane falling, and you spent like almost a minute just trying to stop that crane from falling. He was like running up it to web it to different buildings and stuff to stop it from moving. And then
and that's kind of what he's about.
Yeah.
And so I feel like he has more honor than most superheroes.
Yeah.
And that's something that they're capturing better in this game than they have in the past.
He's a neighborhood superhero, and that's really what we saw from this, was that his focus was on the people.
Yeah.
So,
and that's important.
Villains this looks interesting. So we saw Kingpin. He's in jail in this, so we don't know. From what it sounded like in the trailer, he just recently got in jail, so we don't know if maybe this was maybe a
Kingpin overclocker?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know he was in jail. I love that guy.
He overclocked too hard.
He overclocked so hard they arrested him.
So we don't know if maybe what I'm thinking might have happened is maybe if the mission we saw was mid-game, and maybe earlier in the game you dealt with Kingpin and he got arrested.
Yeah, that could be. That's a good. Yeah, that's a good
and then
thing.
we saw. I don't remember the exact comic book name of the character that we saw, but there was another very very niche comic book character, a smaller, lesser known Spider-Man villain.
Right.
And so that was the character we saw in this, but fighting looked fantastic. I absolutely loved how you had the option to use different aspects of the environment in the fighting.
It's really interesting. Real quick, I'm going to interrupt you because we have some comment things going on. So first I want to say, Richard mentioned, it's amazing that they haven't managed to make a good Spider-Man game until now. I agree with that. I think the first one was actually pretty good, but other than that, they've all just not been very good. Yeah, and from our perspective and what we've seen, it looks like this one's going to be really good, but we will have to see. Also, Rocker, as for the this AIDS comment section, as you mentioned that we haven't mentioned it yet, we have mentioned the AIDS comment section. Where were you? Were you too busy in the comment section? I said that people need to go read the comment section like a book because it's a wonderful book.
It's not really wonderful. It's pretty bad.
It's pretty bad. The comment section's blowing up, guys, and we don't have a lot of mods right now, so I apologize for anybody that's offended by the comment section, although I'm assuming that everybody's in the comment section is the people watching, and they're offending each other. But anyway...
And eventually, once we have this set up a little more
we'll have some
advanced,
mods.
we can have we can also have a dedicated monitor for chat, because both of us have been switching to the dock. So we can actually remember what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So we aren't always looking at the chat to be able to...
It's really hard to prevent cancer chat, though, so whatever. Anyway, I just want to say chat's full of cancer, so I hope you guys are having fun. I'm glad that you guys seem to be entertained in the chat.
But yeah,
Spider-Man.
I think that a key thing with the Spider-Man game as to why it's going to work is that it's being made by Insomniac. And Insomniac, if they do anything right in games, it's movement. And that's a key focal point for Spider-Man.
It has to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that there's a lot of potential, but really, for me, as far as the fighting goes, which was one of the big things we saw in this besides the movement,
Yeah.
I loved the environment interaction.
Yeah.
That's something really cool. I want to see more games do that. It feels more dynamic. It feels more like a real world scenario for the game.
I agree with that, and I think that's more of an important aspect for Spider-Man. Again, that's less important when you're playing Superman or something. The only person I can think of that environmental interactions more important with would be the Hulk.
Yeah, because you're destroying.
Because you're supposed to wreck it, and they've captured that in the games, being able to knock down entire buildings.
Yeah.
But I feel like a lot of the other ones don't need that, but Spider-Man has always lacked the not only the fluidity, like you were saying, but the environmental impact.
Yeah.
And he's got to save this Earth because it's not green enough.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah, that's the goal. That's all Spider-Man.
He's actually just an eco-terrorist.
Well, no, he captures the CO2 with his webs, and he puts them in balls, and I don't know what he does with those balls. Who knows? But
yeah,
they're balls of CO2. But at least they're not in the air anymore. They're in balls of CO2.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I mean, if you watch the trailer, you'll see one of the cool things. So there's a lot more environmental interaction than he can that he can do than they actually showed in the trailer. You'll see commonly where it'll indicate that you can press a button to interact with a whole bunch of different objects in the background as he's fighting.
Yeah.
And they didn't even do that. They just did straight fighting. But you can do much more environmental interaction than they showed.
And that's really important.
So
Because, again, that's what he's all about.
Yeah, there's a lot of difference in fighting. You can use those webs to your advantage to make really cool and unique fighting.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
It's quite cool.
Yeah.
We got about 45 minutes left, so we're going to start trying to gun through a few more of these.
Horizon Zero Dawn, there's an expansion coming. Lots of snow. Looks really good. Horizon Zero Dawn was honestly one of the big surprise games recently. I still haven't played it personally, but I have not heard of anyone that's... Well, you can't.
Why?
Or PS4 only.
I know, but I'm going to buy your PS4.
Maybe. It's up to Calvin. But it's... it looks really good. Everyone's that I've talked to that's played it has said it's fantastic. And so an expansion just sounds like a good thing.
Yeah, indeed.
Monster Hunter.
This one I'm excited for. Yes. Monster Hunter is coming to PC. Not just console... Which, it's been on mobile, but...
It's been on Nintendo
It's been on Nintendo mobile consoles in specific. Now it's on all consoles and PC.
Not the Switch.
Really? I was unaware of that.
Yep. PS4, Xbox One...
It might be too challenging, actually, for the Switch hardware to run it.
Too graphically intensive.
Because
this is a pretty good-looking game.
Yeah, so imagine you take Monster Hunter, but you make it IRL with graphics and RPG. It's gorgeous. It looks like it's going to be fun. Monster Hunter has always been the kind of game where it felt like they pushed as hard as they could on the new 3DS to make it really, really good and to make the graphics as good as possible and to make it as smooth as possible. But there's only so much you can do, and it felt really optimized actually more than pretty much any game I played on the 3DS period. But being able to bring it to PC, if they're bringing that level of optimization and stuff, I'm so excited for this. I've always liked the Monster Hunter games. I played them a decent amount, but they always felt like they were captured and held back, and I never liked that. And now that they're coming to PC especially, but consoles as well, they're not going to have that same experience, which is really cool. So PC, PS4, and Xbox One.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
And there's a lot of changes for this game, too. So one of the things that they were talking about is how you can't use loading screens to get out of bad situations.
Yeah, you
actually have to...
You used to be able to use the loading screens to run away.
You actually have to use your terrain and traps and get on, mantles and things
It's
like that.
almost a different game, just with the same theme. That's really what it is.
And, the base gameplay will still be pretty much the same. You'll just have much different weapons, and you'll have to actually get out of situations.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
I'm excited. It's always been a game that it was the best... It was, realistically, to be honest with you, out of the massive amount of games I played for the 3DS, the new 3DS, Monster Hunter was probably the one that, even though I played it less than a lot of the others, was really taken to the next level as far as what was even capable on a console like that. Not only optimization, but just the massive size of the game, the online capabilities, everything was just impressive.
Yeah.
I was really surprised at what they were able to do. And they were able to, you had chat. You couldn't actually type during game, but you had a large amount of presets that you could modify while you're outside of the game. So when you're playing, you can actually have things that you would want to type out and say quickly. And it was just these things, all these features that they thought of, and I was like, whoa, I didn't even, like, that's something, yeah, it's more complicated than it would be on, say, PC or something, but, you know, at least it's not, like, impossible. They actually managed to get some of this stuff to function, which was really cool. So.
Yeah. And another key thing with Monster Hunter is that this game, despite the fact that it's not a numbered version, it is a core game in the franchise. Like, it's next
canon.
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's not just that it's canon, it's the next one in the main series.
Yeah, right. And that's part of the impressive part. So it makes me wonder, are they moving completely away from doing it for Nintendo?
I feel like they're going to do the
because if they go back,
I feel like they're going to do the core games on everything
and then have some like mobile versions.
And then have some kind of separate game for the Switch. I think we're done with 3DS games.
Yeah, they already had Monster Hunter for Ultimate. That was amazing.
So I want to see more, but yeah, it looks really good. I was really shocked. Yeah, when I was watching the PlayStation press conference and I saw this come on, first off, I had no idea it would be Monster Hunter. And then when it finally was like pretty obvious it was Monster Hunter, I was like, what?
Like confusion sets in. Yeah.
It didn't look anything like it, so I'm really happy with that. I'll buy it.
It's cool. Yeah, I mean, I plan to buy it as well for PC. Yeah. Are you buying it for PC? I hope.
Probably.
Yeah, I mean, you probably don't have any.
I'll buy it for my Xbox One X.
God, you make me cry.
I am getting one.
I know you're.
But I'm not buying
one.
that game for it.
Yeah, no. I think it's a game that's probably going to be better to play. It's going to be more of an RPG style. It's going to be better on PC anyway. That's going to be the better experience, I think. So God of War.
Yeah. So this game, I'm assuming there's going to be a subtitle. I doubt it's just going to be called God of War, but they still haven't confirmed anything yet.
Have all of the God of Wars had a subtitle?
No, but they've been either numbered or subtitle.
Was the first one?
It was just God of War.
It was just God of War. Okay, I was wondering if they were pulling that because, like, you know, Battlefield 1. I was wondering if they were pulling that kind of tactic or something.
It was just God of War.
Okay, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so
no chain. What's this mean?
So his base weapon is a lot different. He has an axe, I believe it is now.
Interesting.
A lot of people were concerned about that because it's so different.
Yeah, because the chain's always been the signature.
But I'm also wondering if there's going to be different weapons throughout the game. We don't know. We've only seen footage from what looks like a few parts of the game.
Yeah, so, that's a good point. Yeah.
But it's essentially just like
maybe there'll be a chain in a different section.
Yeah, just like Last of Us, it looks like this is just Dad Simulator.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Isn't that kind of what all the God of Wars are though? Dad Simulator.
No. What other God of War game do you actually bring your son around with you?
Okay, well that's a good point. But I mean,
you're literally being a dad in this game.
Okay.
You're
literally being a dad. Okay, I was thinking of more of the perspective of what happened to his family.
Oh no! This is like you actually just being.
Which I'm attempting not to spoil too much because people here should have played it but maybe didn't. So. Yep.
Yeah. But really, I mean, they just showed off a little bit more gameplay, some interesting trailers and stuff. The game graphically looks pretty damn good.
It does look good. I'm assuming it's still going to be a Sony exclusive.
Well, it's God of War.
Yeah, so I'm assuming it's still.
There is no assuming. God of War will always be Sony exclusive.
But they've said that about some games and it's changed.
Okay, but
anyway.
Those are games where the actual IP rights are owned by.
Okay,
or
that's
they
a good
get
point.
sold.
Yeah,
God of War is not going to get sold.
Yeah.
And God of War is owned by Sony.
The gameplay of God of War is really good.
Yeah.
It really is really excellent. I miss playing it, and I need to play it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Next up is Detroit Become Human.
Yes.
So this is a game about cyborgs who are sentient, but they have essentially a chip in them that stops them from being able to do what they want.
It's if the sentience from Fallout were modern.
Yeah.
Basically.
And so essentially, like, throughout this game, it's about these cyborgs becoming effectively human. They have the ability to make their own decisions. They are free. They can do what they want.
It appears that they might even be able to have, psychiatric disorders. Mental disorders, even though they're it's AI, but it seems like they're actually able to simulate and almost like realistically actually have mental illness.
Yeah,
which is something that they were kind of brushing on a little bit in there with some of the characters, and that was really interesting to see. That not only you would think as a becoming human type AI thing that they would be the perfect human, but they're not. It's having issues. What I mean. So that was interesting.
Which, I mean, technically,
that
in
is
order for them to
human.
become sentient
properly,
they would have to have had issues, and so whatever spawned that looks like it could affect other aspects of their mentality.
Yeah, that makes sense. Interesting.
But so for those that haven't played Beyond Two Souls, which is another game made by the same developers, it's going to be similar to that in that decisions matter, and even more so in Detroit Become Human.
I love games like that too. Those games are the best.
I mean, you can make for like they showed off one of the trailers was you are trying to break into a facility essentially, and police start showing up, and because you're these illegal sentient robots, you're gonna get killed.
Yeah.
And so they make the decision in the first trailer. They make the decision to just run, and then you kind of see what happens from that, and then they go back and they're like, but you can do different things, and they highlight a couple of different potential options that you
I didn't
selected.
actually see this, so this is interesting.
And then they show a little bit of hints at what would have happened if you chose these different paths. And it's not just for that mission, it affects the rest of the game. You can make a decision that gets someone killed and they're not in the game. Similar to the decisions you might see in a game like Mass Effect. Since this game is completely story-driven, it makes a much more meaningful impact on the game.
Yeah, indeed. And it's exciting.
Yeah.
I'm excited, actually. I always liked that Mass Effect did that, even though I haven't played them, unfortunately. I always like the idea of what you do affects things, but not just the base, final ending or whatever, but the actual entire game. And that's what they're focusing on here, and I think they might actually do a really good job. Also, Richard wanted to say, so what game is this? This is Detroit Become Human. So that's Detroit, Become Human.
Yes.
And it looks really interesting. This is actually one of the ones that I was very excited for.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So
for reference also, the script for this game is 2,000 pages long.
Yeah, meaning there has to be massive amounts of different
this
scenes.
Isn't going to be a 60-hour game. That's just not what these developers do. I would be surprised if it's more than 8 to 10.
Yeah, right. But the fact that they're putting in that much effort and that much scripting, for a game that's probably only going to be 15 hours or something, that's impressive. That says something about what they're doing with the different directions. Maybe it will be long too. That'd be cool.
Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, I mean, it's just think of this as the next evolution in the whole idea of branching narratives in games, because that's really what it is.
And I think that's a direction that all story-based games need to go. Is that they
if
need
you're
to
not
go
gonna be
because
open world,
that really starts to separate it so much from movies and or books, where you're not just having a story told to you. And, games took it to the next level of, well, you're being told a story that you get to play through as well. You get to be part of that story. Now you're actually creating the story yourself.
Yeah.
And that's the important aspect.
What I would really love to see...
Deep learning and AI could be used to make that even better in the future.
What I would love to see, and I know that this would be even more complicated and probably a ways out, but we should get at some point, a combination between Detroit Become Human and A Way Out.
Ooh.
A truly co-op experience where your decisions matter, but each of you can make decisions
separately. And
so if one of you fucks up, you both have to deal with those consequences.
Right. That's really cool.
I would love something like that.
I would love something like that. And VR is going to help take that to the next level as well. VR is going to be pushing something like that where then it's going to be easier to more naturally make those decisions. It's not just going to be a text prompt of select what you want to do.
Well, and EA has this small little division in their company that's somewhat secretive in what they do, but they said that some of the things they're working on are things like AI, machine learning, but also natural voice recognition for games, so you would be able to naturally respond to character dialogue.
Right.
And the game would then... So, let's say you're playing, Mass Effect, for example. Instead of choosing just from a branch of text, you would say something naturally, and the game would branch then from there.
Yeah, and that's incredibly impressive. And I'm excited for something like that. That's something that I've been wanting to see in gaming myself for an extremely long time. So I hope that it happens. I really do. And I hope that it starts to get pushed further and further.
Yeah.
Skyrim? Skyrim VR.
Yes.
So Skyrim's been around forever. Skyrim has been modded on, has been replayed through, has had everything in the world done to it. It's been remastered. It's had texture packs added to it on PC. It is a game that was so good by Bethesda, they keep rehashing it, and I'm fine with that.
It's so good that they haven't bothered to start. I was fine with it for a few iterations. I think it's getting a little excessive.
Yeah.
Because we're at, the 5th version of Skyrim being sold?
Something like that. I think it's 4th. But yeah, so I mean, I guess it is kind of like they are doing a little bit of a money grab on it.
Especially since they haven't even started Elder Scrolls 6.
They said that?
Yes.
Jeez.
They said...
Well, they've been focusing too much on Elder Scrolls Online.
Which nobody wants to play.
Well, the thing is, Elder Scrolls Online, I've played it since the major updates, and it's good now. But they completely ruined it for anybody that was interested in it. Nobody will try it now.
Yeah.
And the level of convincing that's going to be needed to convince those people to go attempt it again is really challenging. So I guess Skyrim's what they just keep pushing and pushing and pushing. And I don't know why they haven't even started the next Elder Scrolls. A little lame. But, I think maybe they're working on it in the background.
Is there still...
like story mode-wise.
Is there still...
monthly payments?
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
there is not monthly payments on it. So that's one of the biggest things about Elder Scrolls Online now is there's not monthly payments. You buy a $60 game, you play it. It's really cool. There might be a special bonus monthly thing, but I don't think so. Anyway, though, Skyrim VR. So yeah, it's pretty much as simple as it sounds. We don't really know how you're gonna move in the world because there's no joysticks on the PlayStation Move controllers.
Yeah, so it's exclusive to PlayStation 4 as far as we know.
PlayStation VR, which kind of makes sense. Putting it on PC is gonna be something that's gonna be a little bit more of a challenge.
I mean, they're doing it with Fallout 4.
That's true. That's a good point.
And they're charging you again for it.
Yeah,
it's a full separate game purchase.
It's the same game.
Yeah, well, so is Skyrim VR.
But yeah, I guess they have to put a lot of effort to make the VR function
to work well.
Yeah. So as long as the VR is actually good, I'm okay with paying for it again. I would pay for those games again if the VR.
I think it should be like $40. It shouldn't be $60.
I can agree because all the story's already done.
Yeah.
All the story's already done. All the map design's already done.
I think it should be. Personally, I think it should be $40 if you don't own the game.
Yeah.
$20 if you own the game.
They need to fix their engine's FPS problem too. Whereas FPS increases once you get to a certain point, it starts to cause the game to speed up.
Yeah.
They need to fix that or have some kind of hardware.
They had to have fixed it because the game has to run at 90 to minimum.
Yeah, so they're going to have to fix that. And that's something that's important because I remember some people that could push Fallout really high were having issues where they actually couldn't do certain things because the game was sped up.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
But, yeah, I don't understand how movement's going to work. So this game does require the PlayStation Move controllers. That's confirmed via the box art we've seen and based off of the gameplay that we saw of it where there was actual arm movement.
Yeah.
But the thing is that with the PlayStation Move controllers, there's no joystick, there's no trackpad, there's not even, directional buttons. It's literally a center button, and then on each of the corners of that button is the PlayStation buttons.
Right.
And then there's triggers. So unless you're going to have something ridiculous...
Maybe you move your arms like this.
Yeah. Unless there's something ridiculous like trigger for forward, trigger for back, and then a strafe button.
Yeah.
I just don't know how it's going to work.
I don't know either. It's kind of...
And if you screw up movement, people will get sick.
Yeah, that's the most important thing in VR. Literally the most important thing. So, I don't know. We'll have to see how that goes. Yeah. But I'm excited. I think it's the perfect game to put in VR. It is the game that everybody loves. I would love to go play through it again.
Yeah.
I need to play through it again already, actually. It's been too long.
I'm really sad that... well, actually, I don't know if Fallout 4 is coming to PlayStation VR. Because if it is, and if they use the... Oh, yeah, so it's not coming to PSVR.
So they're doing Fallout on PC VR and Skyrim on PlayStation VR.
Yes.
That seems almost backwards because Skyrim has had so much more support on PC.
And on top of that, Skyrim would have its movement capabilities on PC VR because it has the better controls.
Yeah.
And Fallout could use PlayStation's aim controller, which has joysticks.
Fuck. And they're doing it totally backwards. Yeah. Why are they doing this? Why did they make that decision? That's
AMD
so weird.
was a key part in Fallout 4 being on VR. I know that because they
AMD's
were the ones
been
that
pushing for
announced
VR
it.
really hard. They've been doing good at that. Yeah.
So I'm assuming that. There was also Doom for VR, which you teleport, so that looks like trash.
Yeah. Oh man.
I don't like. I like VR games. I don't personally like the idea of taking existing VR games and porting or existing games and porting them to VR. I think that the best
Unless
VR
it's
games we've
done
seen,
right. Like I said, I think Skyrim, Fallout, those kind of games can be done right.
but they didn't even bother
But-
to put them on platforms with appropriate controls.
Exactly, and that's the thing is if they're done right, there are a few games that it's okay
Yeah.
to do that with.
But I personally, the best games, and we'll talk about the next one in a second, which I'm very hyped for. But it's VR is a different medium.
Yeah.
Taking
Yeah, that's a
existing
good way to put
games and just saying, "Oh, it's first person, so it works in VR," doesn't work.
Doesn't work. Yeah.
Um,
GTA VR, you get to kill people in VR.
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, they have mods for it, for Vive, and Rift and stuff.
that's
So-
true. That's true. We have a question in chat really quick.
Yes.
Richard's asking, how long can we play VR before it gets tiring? Well, first off, the question is, do you mean tiring or sick feeling? Because
If it's sick
it's
feeling,
sick
I
feeling-
mean, both the answers are dependent on the person and the headset.
correct, yes,
the game?
but when it comes to being sick, I can probably play for about an hour before I
Mhm.
start to feel a little bit bleh, I need to take it off for a little bit.
Mm.
I definitely, and that was on the PSVR. I played his for it was probably almost an hour. I
Yeah.
played it for quite a bit, and I enjoyed it and didn't
And you
feel
weren't
too
even
sick.
really playing some of the high budget, higher quality games.
Yeah, it was a fairly
I
low
mean,
quality
Batman was
VR
a decent
game.
one, but
Yeah,
then,
I didn't play the Batman. I
you
only
didn't?
played the
Until Dawn.
Until Dawn. Yeah,
Okay.
correct. So, and that was not considered like a great VR game. It was just kind of a cool.
Yeah, I
way
mean, it's
to
one
do
of
it.
the more. It's when you get really into it, it's one of the more fun VR games, but it's not.
Yeah,
top
right.
quality.
But anyway, so the point is, it didn't really bother me.
Yeah.
When it comes to tiring, though, it's completely different. That's just how physically fit you are,
Yeah.
and what game you're playing. If you're
And
playing a game where you're moving around a lot,
It's especially important what headset you're wearing because
Some are
each of
heavy.
the different headsets. Well, it's not even weight; it's weight distribution.
yeah,
I think is the
you have to
important
use. If it's
Place-
balanced, you don't have to use your muscles to hold it up as
PlayStation's
much.
headset is by far the most comfortable because unlike the other ones, which just use a strap up here and then kind of tighten around your head, PlayStation VR has something that grips above your forehead.
Yeah.
And puts a lot of the weight right there, and that makes a significant difference in comfort. It was
incredibly comfortable.
That
I
is
was
how
impressed.
every VR headset should be, in my opinion, or at the very least, have some kind of adapter that makes it like that.
Yeah, right.
That
I
is
can
how
agree with
VR
that.
headsets should
Yeah,
work.
I do agree with that. But yeah, when it comes to being tired, it does depend on the game you're playing. When I was playing Until Dawn, it was mostly me just standing there aiming at things. It wasn't too physically exhausting, but if you're playing a game that is, a lot more turning around effort and stuff like that, it's definitely going to get more tiring.
Yeah.
So, continue.
Yeah. So the biggest announcement for me as far as VR goes at this event was that Super Hot VR.
We need to start lightening this shit, by the way. We got about 20 minutes.
I know.
So, okay.
Super Hot VR is coming to PlayStation VR. Holy shit, that's a big deal because Super Hot VR is one of the best VR games right now.
Just
it's
period.
extremely violent, extremely fun, extremely fluid. It's a shooting game where you can do things like shoot at people, throw the gun at them.
You
their
shoot at
gun
people?
Flies, yes.
Okay.
Their gun flies out of their hand. You can grab it, shoot another person. You can do all these crazy
It's such
things.
a cool game.
I highly
Oh, man.
recommend looking up gameplay of it, even if you're not interested in VR, because there's some really cool looking moves that people have done. Just
Indeed.
absolutely amazing. Can't
Okay.
wait. We'll buy that day one. Let's talk Nintendo.
Nintendo. Lots of shit.
So I'll get a couple things out of the way quickly. There's a Kirby game and a Yoshi game coming to the Switch. They
Both look
are
good.
coming next year.
Okay.
They both look pretty good. They're both just announcements. I'm assuming one will come early, one will come mid next year.
Right.
Not now. Some other small teasers that are a big deal. Metroid Prime 4 is confirmed.
About
coming to
time
the
for
Switch.
another Metroid. Fuck.
Yes. It is. They just showed a title card, but it is in development. Also,
Or at least the title card is in development.
yes, one of the biggest fucking teases at the event, a proper core Pokemon RPG, is in development for the Switch. We don't know if it's this current generation being remade. We don't know if it's a new generation, which a new generation would sound more likely, except that they said that the time frame could be just a little more than a year out.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
Yeah, that's kind of...
Yeah.
Hmm.
What I'm thinking we might do is, because there was always rumors of Pokemon Stars, I'm wondering if that was true, just for the Switch, and Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon were the easy ways to get new games out for them to make some extra money.
Right, okay.
because unless they pre-made the Sun and Moon assets for all of the Pokemon in higher resolution, they would have to redo it, which is going to take a significant amount of time.
I know what this is going to be called. Hear me out.
Hurry up.
Ultra Sunny Moon.
Shut up. So yes, core Pokemon game coming to the Switch most likely next year. My guess is that will be their winter title.
Yeah.
Breath of the Wild first DLC comes out June 30th. We've already actually gotten most of the info on this, but they showed actual footage of it.
So it's super cool. I mean,
Yes.
it's
There's going to be
is it going to be
mode.
free?
No.
Okay,
So
didn't
you
think
buy
so.
the season pass for $20. It comes with both DLCs.
See, I feel like that's a fair price for a season
Yeah, it
pass.
is.
The difference between the $20 and $30 season passes, that's a huge difference to me personally. $20 is worth the content, $30 isn't a lot of times. So
Yeah,
I
depends
like
on the content too. But
Yes,
yeah.
but Nintendo's approaching it very good. I mean, like Witcher, for example, $30, definitely worth
Yes.
the content. But
So yeah, first DLC includes hard mode. It includes things like being able to track your footsteps throughout the game, including what you've already been playing for up to 200 hours of gameplay. So you can retrace your areas. You can do it to use that to do things like see which areas you haven't explored significantly, so you can go find shrines, things like that.
Yeah.
There is a new trial mode that once you complete to a certain extent, you can make your Master Sword permanently upgraded instead of only when you're in your Guardians, things like that. The second DLC they didn't really explain a lot of; they just teased. But they did show new amiibos coming for each of the 4 champions.
That's cool.
Yes.
Amiibos are cool.
Yeah.
Amiibos are cool.
Rocket League, big deal, coming to the Switch.
Yep.
On top of that,
Cross-play.
Mario hats.
Oh, and Mario
Yes,
hats.
Mario
Yeah,
hats.
okay.
And,
Mario hats is more important.
And there are going to be Mario-related or Nintendo-related carts coming at some point in the future.
Mario Kart League.
Yes, Mario Kart League.
Oh my gosh, Rocket Mario League.
Kart. Yes. Cross-play with PC and Xbox.
Yeah, that's awesome.
now-
I'm glad they got the crossplay in. That's important
Now,
for an esports
what's
game.
important to note about how crossplay works on Rocket League, because the PlayStation 4 version has it with PC, the Xbox version has it with PC, the Xbox and PlayStation versions don't have it with one another,
Yeah.
nor can you currently select to purposefully play with friends from other platforms.
Right.
Now, though, they did kind of make a bigger deal about crossplay with this,
Mm-hmm.
and with Minecraft getting Xbox Live sign-in, I'm wondering if that's something we might see more of.
I wouldn't be surprised, honestly.
That would be a good way to do it, in my opinion.
I think Steam needs a competitor, and I think Microsoft's the proper one to do it through Xbox.
They
Just
need
fix
an
your
upfront.
fucking app.
Yeah.
Jeez. Oh.
Yeah. But this could be a really interesting start to something big.
Yeah,
Now,
I think so. Yeah.
Something else interesting to note, just a quick side note about Rocket League. Proper crossplay between PC, Xbox, and PS4 is done. It is built. It's literally a checkbox
Boom.
that the Rocket
Boom.
League
Boom.
developers have to check and hit save.
Yeah.
The only reason it's not there is Sony. Now, they've said their reasoning for it, which I find to be utter bullshit. Their reasoning is that they can, and I do understand their idea, they can only monitor what is on their platform. They can only fix what is on their platform.
Yeah.
They can only moderate what is on their platform.
It makes sense. It's
That being
understandable.
said, I guarantee you if Microsoft said, hey, if there's a problem with a specific player, we can set up some kind of deal to deal with that.
Yeah,
Microsoft would do it. Because Microsoft would want the same thing from Sony.
Yeah, right, indeed.
There's no way that Nintendo is going to allow something without that type of moderation.
Yeah, Nintendo is super heavy on moderation. Yeah.
There's no way that Sony has more strict moderation than Nintendo when it comes to...
Nobody
parental
has
controls.
more strict moderation
Exactly.
than Nintendo. Like, fuck.
Yeah. So...
Oh, you want to add a friend?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Get a 16-digit code.
Yeah. So, yeah. Minecraft coming to Switch. We already kind of talked about that.
Yeah, Minecraft's finally coming to Switch. I'm just glad to see a proper Minecraft on a mobile platform that has controllers. Please.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. I'm actually really excited for that. I love to play Minecraft on the go.
Super Mario Odyssey.
On a server. Super Mario Odyssey.
On a server?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was talking about playing Minecraft mobile on a server. Whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, so Super Mario... So, online with Super Mario, not really linear. It's more open world, just exploration style Mario game.
Right.
So you'll have all of these different gameplay options. You'll be able to go to each different world and explore the scale from what everyone that's gotten to try the game has said. One of the biggest surprises when people have gotten to play this game is just how big it is.
Yeah, it's massive.
Yeah.
It's massive. And not only
And we
that,
haven't
you
even
get
seen
to
all
play
of it.
in Donkey Kong City.
New Donk
City. How exciting is
Yes.
that, you know?
Um,
You get to
and-
play with donkeys.
So what we character can take over other people, other enemies, other objects. So you can
Yeah.
become a human, you can become a Koopa, you can become a Goomba, you can become a Bullet Bill, you can become a T-Rex,
Bullet Bill is by far the coolest one, though.
you can become a T-Rex.
Bullet Bill is still
You
the
can
coolest one.
become yes, but car.
Who has always...
You guys wanted to be a car, Morty?
Oh my gosh.
In this universe, you're a car, Morty.
Oh my god.
But yeah, so there's a lot of interesting things. The graphics of the different worlds looked unique.
Yeah, they
which
were
was
really
really
different.
awesome.
The color palette was like totally changed. It was
You went
really
to one
cool.
place that looked like rusty with grass covered over it. You went to a desert with ice.
This is the kind of game that's going to ruin me. I'm going to have to shut down WordTech because I'm going to be too busy
Let's be
playing this
real.
game. No.
You'll play it for a few hours and then you won't play it anymore. You'll go
No,
back to
not with
Warframe.
that. I played the crap out of Mario 64.
Yeah.
Multiple times. So there, take
Yeah.
that. No, I mean,
Um,
I definitely am going to get it. I'll
yes.
probably be streaming a lot of play of
Yeah.
it, actually.
Something to note about Super Mario Odyssey. For those that are buying it from Best Buy, you too, but Super Mario Odyssey is the only one on that list that I'm like prioritizing, which is why I mentioned it. You just pre-order it. So if you're pre-ordering it at a bunch of different places, pay the same price anyway. Might as well get $10.
Yeah.
Plus, if you have Best Buy's rewards membership, you get $12 off.
Awesome.
So I'm
Yeah.
paying after the $10 in money back. I'm paying $38.
Yeah,
for the
that's
game,
so great.
which is like cheaper than 3DS games.
That is, indeed.
Yeah.
That's cheaper. 3DS games are 40 brand new.
So
Oh, boy.
security issues, real quick.
Yes, so we have a few things to talk about. I got a few minutes to talk about this. So this is getting a little bit more to the nerdy stuff, not E3 news here. This is definitely not gaming related, but of course, you know, we're a tech channel,
Let me
not a
interrupt
gaming
you.
channel. Interrupt
I
me.
just remembered we need to finish E3 news. The one bad thing.
Oh,
Fuck
okay.
you, Bethesda. Get the fuck your paid mods out of here.
Are they trying to bring that back? I didn't hear
Yes.
about this.
Yes. So they're not calling it paid mods. It's slightly better than what they were doing before because it's not just take any mods and monetize them.
Donations!
Yes.
Oh.
But what they're doing is they're having the top tier mod developers make mods. Bethesda says okay, and they charge for them.
Your hands are very loud in the mic. That's ridiculous.
Yes.
That makes me mad because the
It's-
thing is about mods is
It's essentially
mods. Okay, you have two categories. You have DLC and you have mods. It's either part of the game officially or part of the game unofficially. It's part of the game unofficially supported by us to make money.
yeah.
That's such bullshit.
Realistically, what it is they're having the community make microtransactions for them. They say, yes, it works. The only nice thing about this program is that everything that's part of this system is essentially guaranteed to not fuck up your save and also not stop you from getting
Right,
achievements.
but
That being said,
still.
you shouldn't be fucking paying for that.
You shouldn't be paying for anything. The whole point of modding is it's generally starting coders. It's coders that don't know a ton about what they're doing and they're trying to progress and get good at it. And that's the whole idea behind mods is a casual thing. It's a casual way to get into game development. And you make some really damn good successful mods. How good does that look on a resume?
Yep.
You know,
In
that's
fact,
the
that's
whole
how a lot
idea.
of people have
That's how
gotten
a lot of them
jobs.
get the jobs. And so
Yeah.
the thing is here, they're supposed to be free. There's not supposed to be an incentive to make money because the idea is to introduce you to it. But also, they tend to not be stable.
Yeah.
The whole idea is donations. Guess what? If you make a fuck ton of money and you really like a particular mod for Skyrim, go give the guy $1.
Yeah.
No big deal.
And what's especially annoying is they almost kind of tried to hide the fact that this was paid mods. So they showed the trailer for Creation Club, which is what this is called.
Yeah.
In Creation Club, you don't use actual money to buy them. You buy some stupid points, and then you use those to buy the in-game mods. Essentially, that's really what it
That's
is.
so bad.
So when you're doing that, in the trailer, they never said, exactly all this. So it's like, as they were going through the press conference, everyone was just like, seeing stuff like, okay, that's interesting, Bethesda kind of sucks. Did they just announce paid mods a couple trailers ago? What the fuck? That's like literally what the process was.
Oh
So-
my gosh. I can't believe they're trying it again after
They
the amount
can't
of
bother to make
community
new
explosion.
games. They sell Skyrim for the 4th time.
Like, what is going on with Bethesda? Like, what is going on with they've always been the company that made these wonderful, amazing. They released EA, and they lost. They lost time, they lost money, and they also lost more. Feel as confident as such their unsuccessful product, but it still wasn't a success because more nerd related. But so I wanted to talk about these two things really quick. A couple of major security flaws. So one of them can let you install malware. Now, as far as I understand, this affects any version of PowerPoint above 2007, not including 2007 of Microsoft Office. So when PowerPoint's installed, you are able, when you hover over links, PowerPoint essentially can connect to that link. I don't know the details about the feature actually because I don't use PowerPoint. But point is, basically the flaw in PowerPoint is actually allowing you to hover your mouse over a link, albeit in PowerPoint, so it's not like it does a system-wide, which would be terrible, but hover your mouse over a link, not click on it, just hover over a link, which is what most people do to see the URL to see if it's legitimate. You hover your mouse over that link and it installs the malware. Now it goes through this massive process of things in order to install, and then it jumps into JavaScript. And in the end, I won't get into all the details of exactly the steps that it goes through, but in the end, it is able to gain remote desktop access to your PC. So yes, what could happen is you could receive a email with a PowerPoint file from either a random email address or a compromised email address, and in this PowerPoint file, you open up a PowerPoint file going, I wonder what this is. It says it's from mom or whatever, and you open it up and oh, okay, it's just a giant link or something, or there is a link somewhere. You move your mouse across that link for a second, and all of a sudden, within a matter of minutes, remote desktop access is granted to an attacker. Major, major, major problem here, especially imagine you're on your admin account, and now they have admin access to the computer through remote desktop. And of course, they wouldn't take control of it right away. It would be something that they would do later. But it's definitely not a good security exploit. So be very careful opening up PowerPoint stuff. Again, this affects newer versions of PowerPoint, not older versions, because it didn't support the hover feature the way the newer versions do. So definitely be really careful of that, guys, to not, don't open up any suspicious PowerPoints. Don't even open them, because you move your mouse across that by accident and you're completely bad.
Yeah.
Now, the other major thing, there was a couple more security things, but the other major one that I want to talk about, the other ones we left out for sake of time, is basically somebody, a group of attackers figured out how to bypass Google's two-factor authentication, which is a huge deal. So what they managed to do is a man-in-the-middle sort of attack through Google's authentication. So for those of you who don't know, the way Google's authentication works is, you put in your email or your username and your password, and once it registers that both of those are correct with Google's servers, it then kicks you back and either sends you a text message, or you can use your Google Authenticator app to get a 6-digit code to enter into that. There's a third option that I'll get to in a moment that actually can protect against this. But anyway, those two options there, it sends you a text message of a 6-digit code. You enter that 6-digit code. That's what lets you finally have full access to your account. The idea behind this is basically you have to have a physical thing with you in order for people to gain access. So even if they guess your password, they figure out your password, whatever it may be, you're still protected because they don't have your phone. But what happened here is there was actually a group of attackers that were, and this is a user error, but a group of attackers were able to basically create a login prompt that looked just like enter your password. What it would do is it would take that username and password and it would actually plug it into their server through their domain name. And their domain name, could be something similar to Google or not at all. A lot of people don't ever look at the actual domain of where they're going. And it plugs it into their server. And what their server will do is take that username and password, and it's all automatic as far as I understand. It plugs that into Google servers from their address, right? And when it plugs that into Google servers, Google then goes, okay, yeah, these are correct, and it sends you that authentication code to, you either use your app or you get the text message. And what will happen is you go, oh, okay, now it's time to, basically version of the Google login, which looks basically identical to Google's actual login, will show the prompt for the authentication code. You'll enter it and hit next. That will send it to their server. Their server will then plug in the authentication code to the Google server. So then they've gained access to your account, which is already bad enough. That sounds bad enough. But then what they're able to do is after they've logged in, in stuff, basically authenticating their server or their computer or whatever it is, the attacker, logged into websites, that installs a cookie with a certificate on your browser that allows you to, when you goes, okay, that cookie key matches this, that authentication key matches this authentication them, and it logs you in, bypasses the password and the two-factor authentication prompt. So if they do that and they get the cookie installed, they can gain access to your account, keep me logged in sort of thing, and before they start accessing stuff on your account. So you never even know it happened right away, and you would assume everything just goes as normal, no problem. Really scary. The one way that does, if you get the prompt on your phone that allows you to say yes or no to a Google authentication thing, is, as far as I understand, when they plug that into the Google server, no, I guess that still wouldn't mitigate it. Because when they plug in your username and password to the Google server, it's just going to prompt the phone.
The difference is that they would have to do it, I mean, it depends on how fast you initiate it, but it would also have to do it pretty instantaneously.
Yeah, which it does.
With the code, they could just do a little bit of a delay in the system while they process it, essentially.
Yeah, but I mean, you only have 30 seconds with the code still.
But I'm just saying, they can make it look like the site's taking an extra second to load while they're pushing the code through to their
Right, okay, that's a good point.
It.
Yeah, okay. Very scary thing. So be careful. Actually look at the domain name whenever you're logging into any Google-based stuff, or any two-factor authentication for that matter. This could be used for anything. Definitely kind of scary though, so it's definitely something.
Everything can be impacted for sure.
Yeah. So man-in-the-middle attacks is the only real way right now to get around. So I guess but attackers are getting better and better at for even more experienced people to just not think about something, and that's all user error really is it's not necessarily being dumb, it's just not thinking about something consciously. Every time I go to a website, I don't read the entire domain name because I'm not a robot. I can't read that quickly. I'm sorry. I suck at reading. It takes me like an
That's bad.
What font point 1
Sure.
with a magnifying on a 32:9 monitor rotated vertically.
Okay. 49-inch from Samsung.
That's what I'm talking about. 32:9 aspect ratio.
Yeah, I think that's it.
I think that's it, yeah. All right, well, anyway, everybody, thank you for joining us for WordCast. Again, this was number 24. There'll be a lot more tech stuff next week. We may be in person again next week. We will not be at this location if that's the case. But if not in person, we'll do it remotely. But we do have a dedicated gaming channel, which there should be in the description. There's subscribe to that. Most of that channel, but we wanted to talk about it here because it was a big deal. And there was some hardware. A big event happened. But anyway, I'm Ethan. This is Little Bitch. Wait, sorry. No, what's your name?
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter. This is Harry
Radcliffe.
Daniel Radcliffe.
Yes.
So this is Daniel, and I'm Ethan, and I just want to say thank you. This is probably one of the best ones that we. Just great having everybody here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go